What's up, everybody? I'm TJ.
And I'm Kelsey, and we are
the Nashville Wine Duo. What's up, everybody?
What's up? It's Monday, right?
Yeah, it's Monday.
Losing track of the days.
Monday fun day.
Monday fun day?
Yeah, right? We're doing it. We're having fun on this Monday.
We are.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the people who
It's
are with
beautiful
today?
in Nashville, and we have a special guest. So we're doing like this exploration of the wine world. Mm-hmm. We've met with wine importers, wine makers, and today our first wine distribution. We called it a wine house, right? Distribution house.
That's just a term that I came up with. I don't know.
Oh, okay. It sounds like okay. I was going to use it. I'm not going to use it. A wine distributor. He's one of my personal favorite wine distributors with 100% Italiano.
Yes.
You got to say it every time like that.
Yes. We're almost really more like 73% Italiano. They integrated quite a few.
You guys got to change your name now?
No, it's still 100%.
You guys are lying to people.
I know. That's what people have said, and well, I don't know. It's all right. Don't worry about
That's the only reason I've worked with you, because I thought it was 100%. Now you're 73%. It's almost like...
You thought I was Italian? Do you think I was Italian?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry. No. So sorry.
Kat from 100% Italiano, which is really 73% Italiano.
Yes, but still amazing.
Amazing wines. We're honored to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
So first off, cheers.
Yes. Cheers.
She poured some delicious looking stuff in our glass, which we want you to talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But while we sip and try and get our bearings on what she poured for us, tell us about yourself.
Tell me.
Yeah, where'd you get started in the wine world? And
well,
born in Nashville?
Yes, born and raised in Nashville. I also think it's important to note that I was not intending to be in this industry. I was originally going to go the music route, like everybody else in Nashville area.
Music?
No, I wanted to tell the people who were singing what to do. I wanted to manage, wanted to do tour management, event management, any of that. And I needed a job my senior year of college, and my best friend and roommate at the time worked at Arrington Vineyards, which is located in Franklin, and she ended up helping me get a job there, and that's kind of where it all started. That was where I decided that wine was something fun and something I wanted to pursue more so full time. And at that point, I even did try to jump into distribution, but obviously I was a baby. I'd only been in the wine game for maybe 10 months, so that didn't pan out. So I ended up going the retail route, which you can either do retail restaurant, but I did retail and worked at Midtown Corkworks in downtown Nashville for 2 years before then making the jump into distribution, which was the goal for the past 3. And now here we are. We're doing the darn thing.
You made it.
I've made it. This is it.
So what made you, you were saying you started working at Arrington. What about it made you fall in love with specifically?
Well, I've always been kind of a weirdo when it comes to history and facts, and I've always been really good at recording just random things. And when with wine, there's so much to know, and it's constantly changing. And one of my favorite things about it was that, it is one of the oldest beverages in the world that we've been drinking for hundreds of years. And I just kind of was grown to it in that sense. Seeing how happy it made people too, like these people that would come together. I mean, we got tourists, we got bachelorette groups, birthdays, and so many people from all different walks of life were just so excited and loved this beverage, and I just thought it was the coolest thing, and I wanted to share it with more people.
I love that.
Yeah,
it makes people happy, it brings people together.
Totally.
For sure. And even we've been to Arrington before, and it's kind of like a magical place, beautiful grounds, and just a place where people, they're happy.
Yeah.
So
it's the coolest thing, and they're learning at the same time, and they don't really know they're learning because you're just kind of slipping it in there. But it was the best introduction I can think of into this industry, and also just a super fun job to have at that pivotal point in my life.
So what brought you to 100% Italiano? How did you get involved in that?
I was familiar with them because we did carry a few of their products at the store. And then when I was also just doing research into the different distribution houses that here in Nashville, that was one of them that popped up. And they were looking at the time, and I applied. And luckily enough, they wanted to take the chance on some ding dong that walked up out of the street and said, "I like wine and I like people. Can I sell your house?" And they were about it, and they believed in me, and they still believe in me, and we're just having a great time together.
That's awesome.
At any point during the interview with them, did they ask if you were Italian?
No.
Okay.
I'm not the first non-Italian to work with them, so it's been a trend.
It's a trend that's happening, okay.
But the core people, which is why it's still 100% Italiano, is they are 100% Italiano, came over to the States, started up this amazing company. Andrea Danti is the president.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a...
They immigrated from over there.
Yeah, they came over here, and I want to say they started the company about 13 years ago. And the reason that the logo you mentioned on Instagram is the little cartoon guy driving a Vespa is because that was Andrea at the start. He had a Vespa. He was putting cases of wine on the back of it and delivering out to customers who, again, just believed in him and took the gamble and brought in these really cool products. And when it also came to searching houses that I wanted to take a part of, I really gravitated towards 100% Italiano because they do that small-owned family production, sustainable, biodynamic, organic vibe, and it's all hand-selected by Andrea of things that he's drank and gotten excited about. And I really liked that because when it came to working at a retail spot, even I found myself naturally gravitating towards the smaller production vibe and pitching that to people who maybe had only ever had grocery store wine, which there's nothing wrong with grocery store wine in the slightest, but when it comes to deviating from that, you tend to go more towards like the smaller producers. And
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And I love that. What I love about you guys too is you kind of focus on the boutique aspect of like you were saying, like you're not working like with these big, warehouse stores and stuff like that.
Right.
You really stay focused on who you guys sell to and stay true to, I guess, his vision when he started the company.
Completely. Yeah.
Staying true to
We did, I want to say like restaurants is still probably our strongest point, but when it comes to retail, they like the small family owned, and even just the connections with people that you build from that retail spot. It's got to be someone that's like face to face and all that. So
do you miss retail at all?
I miss retail so much.
You do?
Still to this day, I miss retail so much. And it's just because, Arrington was a gateway into wine, but it was also kind of like another introduction into customer service, which I have a weird passion about. I love helping people. I like making them happy and making sure that their event, their bottle, their whatever is exactly what they want and is the best that I can provide. So that's kind of how I really got into the retail, and I still find myself asking people, "Can I help you find anything?" I don't know where the heck it is, but we're going to figure it out together.
You'll be like shopping at TJ Maxx and like
talking to somebody. Gosh, I do. I'm really awful at it. And my great-grandmother was this way. My grandmother, we cannot stop talking to people. And it's something about our faces that strangers will see us and be like, "Oh, so what'd you think of blah, blah, blah?" Like, they'll just randomly talk to us, and then I find myself talking to them. And it's so annoying for people I'm around because I'm always talking to strangers and just making connections with people that it's not going to pan out to anything. It doesn't matter, but I'm just doing it on a Tuesday.
But that means that, you can tell, like, you're meant for this job because you were saying that basically you carry around, maybe you can describe what you do in your job, like, on a day-to-day basis, but you're going and selling wine to people and talking to people and... Yeah, and you take around, what exactly would you call it? Like a suitcase of your wine?
Yeah, so it's this big old wheeled thing. It's got 12 compartments. It is insulated, and I wheel this around town and pour samples for random people. That's kind of how if we were talking about day to day, I have appointments I go to, and I pour samples that I've pulled that week that feel pertinent to one account or another, and we just go through the bag and see what sticks. And
your bag of goodies.
My bag of goodies. It's like a Mary Poppins bag. And it's so funny because, oh my gosh, like Friday I had a champagne in there and I hit a bump on the street and you could hear pop where the champagne stopper had flown off it. And we were in a tasting and I went to look for it. I don't know where that went. Bag is zipped. It's closed. It is not in that bag. It is like it dissipated into complete thin air. I have no idea. So sometimes even I don't know what I'm going to put.
Well, why don't we talk about the first wine that we're drinking?
Yeah, so you pulled 2 wines for us that are in the 100% Italiano catalog.
Correct. Also thought it would be super fun to do more of a deep dive into orange wine because that's kind of one of the tangents that I can get on with myself and my wine friends, in the sense that I feel like orange wine is almost too broad of a term to be using now. There's so many different little categories it can fall off into. So the first one we're doing is the Marina Danieli Pinot Grigio. This one's going to be out of Veneto, Italy, and it's done in a traditional Ramato style, which is what a lot of the Pinot Grigios were done, like, you know, back in the day when they first started making them. And with this one, particularly what Ramato is referring to is the fact that they're letting the grapes are staining the wine. That's why you have this really pretty copper color that we have in our glasses. Particularly with this one, they're doing, a short cold maceration of about 12 hours with the skins, and then they age it in stainless steel tanks from there. So what you're getting from this still, which is particularly what you find in most orange wines, is you're getting a little bit more body that's being built just from the tannin that is coming from that grape skin. As well as you're getting more fruit components that just come out naturally from that process as well. Another important thing to note is that orange wine is going to be made from white wine that they're doing the skins with. That's kind of the thing. Like we think of rosé. It's kind of a similar process because rosé is done with red wine. This is just done with white wine, but you still can get so much color and flavor, and it's a really great segue, especially for white wine drinkers, if we want to tiptoe into something a little bit richer, a little bit fuller, tipping more into like the red wine category, just because sometimes you'll get, and we'll find it with this next one, you'll get more tannin, and it's a great food wine. It pairs with endless things just because of how versatile it is.
Yeah.
Everything you said.
Yeah. Well, we had Davis Campbell on one of the episodes, and he told us about Italian orange Pinot Grigio. So we let him know, like, we've found one. It's available around town.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So people can locate this and ask for it at your favorite places. Cork Dorks for sure.
Cork Dorks
Man,
for
this
sure.
is like such an elevated version of Pinot Grigio.
Oh yeah.
And that's what it is. And even before I started working with Italiano, when they had it at Cork Dorks, that was always my favorite thing to show people, because it's a step up from your standard Pinot Grigio. And Pinot Grigio, I love, has its place in time, but sometimes they can be a little bit fruity, a little bit too light for the occasion.
Yeah.
This gives more to it. Like, you know, we're even getting like some almost like peach skin notes. You're getting a lot more stone fruit from this, which normally I feel like Pinot Grigio runs more of either, I don't want to say light citrus, but it gives more like apple pear vibes to me, like really light, fleshy fruit, and this just rounds it out and deepens it up a little bit.
This is delicious.
No, I love this one.
I love this one.
So good.
How much does this wine retail for?
$19.99.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this wine, this drink's like a $40 bottle of wine. I mean, it's
crazy.
really good.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe it's only $19.99.
Yeah, which is what, I mean, another thing, going back to the company, that's what I love about it, is that you can get some really cool, off the beaten path and just great stuff, and it's just going to be at a more affordable price.
Great price.
Just because we're smaller, and that's how Andrea wants to price it out.
Wow, thank you so much for.
And this one is sustainably farmed.
Yes, she is sustainable. Also a female winemaker here. Marina Daniele is the woman, so she is the one who's heading that operation. I believe she inherited it from her grandfather, her family, and now she's the one who's running that show. And yeah, they started back in 1870. They've been making wine ever since then, and in the past 30 years, they've revamped the winery and made it to this almost resort-like destination, because they want to share it with people and have them come and stay on property and have that kind of experience. So it's been a long time coming, and now we've got a lady at the helm of it all.
I'm looking at this little sticker on the back of.
Cute.
What does that say?
A little sustainable bumblebee.
It's a questionable, sustainable.
Don't ask me. I'm not Italian.
It's a cute little
I've
sticker.
never seen that sticker anywhere.
Yeah.
It says quality sustainable, I'm guessing. But it's the cutest little sticker.
Yeah.
A little bumblebee.
Love it. Yeah.
Very
love
cute.
It.
The bottle
This is
cool.
awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so
bottle of wine
good. I feel like this would be one that I would pick up and it would impress anybody when you take it to.
Yeah.
They'd be like,
Well,
where'd you get this? This is good.
What a cool introduction again to an orange Pinot Grigio, a skin
Yeah,
contact Pinot
so
Grigio.
unique.
Yeah. It's
Which,
amazing.
like I said, to step back up on that soapbox, there's so much that orange wine has to offer. And I feel like that was a struggle I had when I was in retail and people were coming to me and they said, oh, I've read about this thing called orange wine and I'd really like to try it. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you like? And it wouldn't be anything close to the orange wine that they had read about, because a lot of times I feel like when we think as industry professionals, when we think of orange wine, a lot of times you're thinking of that more acidic, that tannic. It almost leans to, which this one does, this next one will kind of go more towards that side where it's going to be a lot sharper.
More like a pet nat.
More like a pet nat. It almost, even without the effervescence, it just has more of that mouthfeel, as well as sometimes they can come off really like Pilsner beery, like they almost drink like kombucha. And there's just such a range that I'm clearly not clever enough to figure out what we would define and how to separate those, but there's just so much variation within the category as a whole.
Totally. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's it's kind of a newer, I mean, not a newer concept, but to like the general public of people, they think it's kind of newer within the past 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, the guy who even coined the term orange wine, he did that in 2004. Like, this is still fairly relevant. Yeah. And it was a British wine importer who was the one who started calling it orange wine. But I mean, if you look at, I want to say the three main probably areas that do orange wine going farther back would be Italy with their Ramato style. Slovenia does a lot of orange wine, and Georgia, the country, does a lot of orange wine.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's like your three. You know, back in the day, these were the guys who were doing it, and this was just, you know, Ramato style, just what they were making. This was what they did, and then, you know, now orange wine has kind of obviously grown from that. And I feel like it's even gotten more of a rap of being kind of like hipster and new and weird, when really it's been here for a while. It just wasn't necessarily super.
Which is why I think that the ones like the hipster kind of thing that you're talking about, I think the ones that people have had us try, they have been more of like a beer kind of. Yeah,
totally.
You know, we've tried other ones since then that were more like on this line of things, but yeah, I think that was kind of initial people's first first thought about what it is.
Totally.
So, yeah,
it's fun to look at the opposite spectrum and know that orange wine's not necessarily for Brad, who lives in East Nashville with his old Carhartt beanie. It can be Deborah down here.
You know Brad too?
I know Brad.
What a coincidence.
So before we pour the other one, we were having a really fun discussion about spitting wine out.
Yes.
Spitting and
which we are not doing today.
Which we're not doing today.
We're not spitting. No spitting here.
But you were saying about like what's the main reason people do that?
So we don't get drunk so darn quickly, really, is what it is. I feel like, especially when it comes to trade shows and other tastings, it's kind of proper protocol to spit because you're not getting as much alcohol in your system. I will say, even at the end of the day, you're still putting it in there. It's still getting in your tongue, getting in your bloodstream. So even at the end of a trade show, you might feel a little lightheaded and like, that was great.
Yeah.
But imagine what you'd be feeling if you actually ingested everything. So that's kind of the idea there. Some people think that you're not really getting the full essence of a wine unless you swallow it. I kind of agree with that, kind of notice that, but unless you're like super trained in the palate, I don't think I even really recognize that. It's just kind of up to preference.
You told us a funny story about something that happened to you.
It was a trade show that was in quite a large hotel, and I was there with my boss and my managers at the time. Baby retail, I had just started maybe 3 months ago. Like, I was very new, and I was so excited to go. And they have all these spittoons, which are these, you know, just these, they really are almost like champagne buckets. Like, they're just these big silver buckets. And I have always been really anxious about the spitting thing because it's kind of hard. If you watch a seasoned spitter, you know, they can really aim it for the bucket, and it's like a very classy thing, and they're fine. I'm like, it's like dribbling out of me. It's going all down the front of my shirt.
So you're like Jack on the Titanic?
Yes, I'm having such a hard time doing this. And there was one time that I went to spit in this bucket, and it was quite full. They dump them out obviously at the end of these events to keep them from getting full.
Ew,
but
I would hate to be that person.
Oh yeah, I've been that person. But I went to spit in the bucket, and it came back shot and hit me in the eye. And I just had to really tell myself, like, you are having fun. This is where you want to be. Do not think about all of the thousands of people's of saliva that has just gone into your eyeball. You're having a good time. And you also don't want people to notice that it's happened too.
Right.
There's been so many times where I've gone to spit and it goes all the way down my shirt.
If something like that happened to me, I think I would think I was going to die.
I just had to push it away.
I know. Well,
definitely wasn't going to have a freak out with my boss right next to me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? 3 months in, and I'm like,
you had to be, so I
had to play it cool, act like it didn't happen. I don't know if anyone saw it, but.
Have you ever been talking to someone and they spit on you and
you
play it off like you didn't
completely
just get spat on?
Absolutely
but you're
not.
Like, oh, you
I do it
call
all.
them out?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm saying absolutely not. You do not call them out.
You act like I just did not take it in the face, and you just go.
I even won't even flinch sometimes. I've gotten real good about it. And I just stare straight.
An old lady spit on me last week.
It was an accident, right?
Well, yeah, but it was like she was really old.
Because I've been spit on purpose, and that's like a whole.
So I really love old people. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think old people are great. I love old people. People are mean about old people. And actually, the other day, this is random, but I was on Netflix. They made some horror movie about old people.
Was it Deborah Logan?
It's called Old People.
Oh.
And it's
like The Haunting of Deborah Logan.
Well, like, turned it on, and it was like all these old people like killing people, and I'm like, it's like old people.
Oh,
I'm like, I love old people.
I love an old lady.
Let's not do this. But she, she was spitting a lot when she was talking, and then she was trying to talk to me about like, I have all these returns, and then she was like, and I'm like,
returning more than her items. She was also
yeah, and then like I walked away, and I was like, I said, I think I'm gonna die, but I didn't die. It was pretty bad.
Okay, other random question now that we're on a spit bucket. Is there a price that... Wait, let me ask the question.
I know what you're going to ask.
I'm ready. I'm calculating
Is
numbers.
there a price
Yes.
that would pop in your head
Yes.
if someone offered you to take a sip of the spit bucket? What would be the price for you to do that?
Oh my God. I don't know.
The situation that you're in.
This is such
what's
a
the price
personal
tag?
question.
Yeah, what's the
so
price
disgusting.
tag? Everybody's got a price. What would be the price for you to take a sip of that spit bucket that everybody's spat in?
$10,000.
That's it?
Yeah, because that's a pretty good down payment.
No,
on a home.
that's not. You wouldn't.
I would not. No.
Oh,
I don't even know if I would have. You know me though. I don't have a.
He has. He really struggles. He actually. So if we go over to other people's houses, and if you
don't say this on the podcast,
I can say it on the podcast. Why don't you guys start pouring the other wine? Talking about.
This is Kat, not Jay's
Okay,
secrets.
I know, but she knows the secret too. So, if TJ eats food that you've prepared at your house, that means he really trusts you and thinks that you're a clean person, because he will most likely never eat food at other people's houses.
Okay.
Because if he can't see how it's prepared and he thinks that you might be a dirty person, then he will not eat your food.
Now there's people reassessing situations
Every
that we've been
every dinner they've had.
Did he
all
eat
the
at
people,
our house
all the people that listen to this are people that we've been to their house and you've eaten their food. But he has to figure out if you're a clean person. Like, cause if he feels like you're a person that doesn't wash their hands, like if you're kind of like, if you're kind of like a dirty person, like he won't eat the food.
Not dirty person in general, like
even the house. If the house is kind of dirty,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I come from a medical family, so I grew up hearing about things that happen in a hospital and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, not a HIPAA violation, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But just bodily fluids are constantly in a hospital, and I don't know. I never got that issue. My uncle would only eat after me as a small.
Only eat after you?
Yeah, he would not eat after anyone else because it just grossed him out. But for whatever, me, little buddy, he was fine with that.
Oh, yeah,
no, but I will wipe a kid's snotty nose with my bare hand. Don't even care. Like I don't know. Yeah. It's never bothered me.
That's why he won't eat. That's why he wouldn't drink the spit bucket. So how much would it take for you to do it?
I don't.
$1 million.
You don't think $1 million, TJ?
$1 million.
Maybe,
$1 million?
Maybe. I might throw up in the spit bucket.
That's
though, while I'm
fine.
doing
I mean,
it.
you could do that.
I'd probably throw up. It's all psychological for
It
me.
is. That's why.
No, it's it. My mind plays tricks on me.
I'd do it for $5,000.
That's why I think about what I'm eating though too, because I'm eating and I'm like thinking about like it's running in a field, and I'm like, this is messing with my psyche.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mind is my worst enemy, I think, in that regard, because
Yeah.
I think about what I'm eating or drinking.
So actually, Jessica Sonquist, if you're listening, the fact that he ate tacos at your house last night.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that was bomb. Those were good.
He ate them.
Good.
I was like, he's reached a level with her.
There we go.
Or he trusts her.
Yeah, I trust you, Jessica.
So
All
funny.
right.
All right, we're moving on to the next wine.
$10,000, huh? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I just said 5. I'd do it for 5.
You do it for 5?
Honestly,
I didn't hear you say that.
my initial gut thing was going to say 1,000.
I'd do it for that.
Because that's about.
I would
You
do.
girls are crazy.
$1,000?
It's a really good.
Yeah.
Where everybody's spitting
You didn't
it.
tell me I had to chug the whole thing.
Yeah, no,
it's
it's like
a
a
sip.
Single
Like
sip.
a sip.
Single
Yeah,
sip. Yep.
absolutely do it. Can you
Single sip.
imagine?
All right.
Get a nice little handbag for
What
$1,000.
is-
I'm fine with that.
All right.
Yeah. So this next one is
Ooh,
really
love the nose.
Isn't
on
it
this one.
beautiful? Yeah. Okay. So
Oh,
this
wow.
definitely has that
Oh my
aromatic
gosh.
smell. So this wine.
It smells like the ocean.
Yeah. Okay, giving everyone context since they're not here. So this is the Goralis Terra Ambera. This is going to be an orange wine. It's made of Muscat of Alexandria, which is a grape that is mostly going to be indigenous to the Lemnos Island, which is going to be kind of near Greece, I believe.
Okay.
One of those little fun spots. With this particular one, we're looking at staying with the skins for about 5 days and then being aged on the lees for 2 months. So we're going to get that.
Wow.
I love lease aging. You can really taste it. It's going to have like this creamy, sort of like mid palate to it. But particularly talking about the Muscat of Alexandria grape, this is going to be really aromatic. It's really pretty.
It's got a beautiful nose on it.
I mean, it's almost, I don't want to say Riesling-esque, but like Riesling and Gewürztraminer are like the top aromatic grapes that I think of when I start to smell something.
Well, in the previous one that you had, it said stayed on for like hours on the skins.
Yeah.
This is 5 days.
Yes, so this is where we're taking that huge turn into...
And then you had the lees on there.
Yes,
It's like,
yeah.
Okay, maybe this sounds weird, but I get a lot of like pine.
Yeah?
The nose on this is just...
Do you get pine on the
beautiful.
palate or in the nose?
The nose. Like a balsam.
Yeah.
I love it.
I just can't get past how good it smells.
It smells so good.
But even this one, it still has that depth, and you can really feel it after you swallow it.
Yeah.
There's like an acid to it that really comes out. But
There is an oranginess to it too. Yeah, you get that. I get the orangey.
kind of
For
more
sure.
of like that citrus
In the taste, yeah.
And I think that's more going to be due to the Muscat of Alexandria, more so.
I'm doing a video right now too, and I love the skeleton hanging out behind you in every video I'm doing.
Oh,
It's so funny.
So where in town can you get this at Cork Dorks?
you can get that at Cork Dorks Green Hills.
Cork Dorks Green Hills.
It's right by where I work.
How much does this bottle run? Made with organic grapes. It says right on the bottle.
So pretty.
I should know that off the top of my head.
No worries.
It's a little closer to 30.
Okay.
But
Okay.
not quite.
Still not
30.
bad.
Yeah.
Yes, this is like a little step further into like the orange world, but like we were saying, I think more. I mean,
It makes me think of an IPA.
I was gonna say, it's got like
Yeah,
that-
it's kind of got a hoppy nose to it.
Totally.
It's got the
Okay,
beer
yeah,
hoppiness
you just
element
point.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's completely.
but not in a crazy.
But not in a
way.
crazy way, and like a really like
Because it-
light, beautiful
Yeah.
way.
Right, and it
like-
doesn't really translate onto the palate either. Like, I can't stand an IPA. I think it smells like a drug that is not legalized here in the state of Tennessee. But it definitely has that kind of vibe to it. But even this on the palate, it's more of like that fruit. It's more floral leaning
Yeah.
as opposed to, you know, anything else. But I think if you ask like an IPA drinker, they're gonna be like, oh, it's fruity and citrusy. I don't know. It smells gross. But this one doesn't. I mean,
love
it's
it.
an IPA,
this
but it's not a
is-
gross
I love
IPA.
this one. This is incredible. Totally different than the skin contact.
Totally
Pinot
different.
Grigio,
You can
but-
even feel when you swallow it. There's like a not even sandpaper, but it's like a smacking that is coming from the grape skins, as well as that really pretty grape must that you see on the bottom. When you shake it up, it gives it that also kind
Yeah.
of like tannic feel.
You feel it on your tongue.
I really feel it that I love it.
Yeah. Well, good, great.
Oh my god,
It's definitely a weird one.
Two incredible wines from 100% Italiano, that's for sure. I love this. Unfiltered, unfined.
Would you say too? I mean, from a lot of people we've been doing, these conversations with, do you think a lot of the reason too that you have gravitated towards 100% Italiano is because it also matches like your own palate and like the wine that you like, or no?
I'm gonna say no.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly because when I started drinking wine, I started with Moscato. Like, sweet,
Wow, okay.
nothing,
What was the first one you ever tried?
The first one I
First
ever
one you
tried,
ever
don't
drank.
you ask me that. It's probably like freaking Sutter Home Pink Moscato.
Hey, everybody has a starting
Oh
point.
my God, you know what I loved in college?
No shame in that game.
Arbor Mist.
Arbor Mist.
Do you remember like the
Oh,
fruit wine they did?
Arbor Mist.
We called it candy wine. I loved that stuff.
Look
but
how
anyway.
elevated you are now, though.
I know, and that's like I said, like with Italiano, I kind of gravitated more towards. I like the family-owned small production, like highlighting people who've worked years and years and years and are still down in the trenches with their grape pickers, and I like that idea. And I think the more you drink wine, the more you kind of transition in your palate and get a
would
little
agree.
bit more elevated. But even then, there's still really great sweet wines out there that are good, and they serve their purpose. I mean, I'm definitely not one of those people who looks down on someone for what they like about their wine. I mean, if they tell me they like juicy, fruity cab, that's fine. Let's find the best one we can do, and we'll rock with it from there.
So do you still drink sweet wine?
Not much anymore, no.
Really? How funny?
Yeah, the sugar gives you a real good hangover, so I don't really do much of that anymore. I love a good sweet wine. I'll take a sip of it, but since I have been doing this, it almost one sip is enough. I can't drink a whole 3-liter, 1.5 format of Arbor Mist candy wine anymore. Yeah. Like that just doesn't hit. Does not hit the system the same way.
Doesn't hit the same.
Mm-mm.
So we have a friend. Her name is Becky. That's what we'll name her, Becky. Becky is turning 21 tomorrow and wants to start drinking wine. What would be a good wine recommendation for her as a first wine to try, being newly 21? What would you recommend to someone, new wine drinker?
There's so much science that goes into this as well.
Yeah.
Because this is a very generalized statement, but they've done some research on it, and the reason that Americans tend to like that more fruit-forward, bolder flavor is because the American diet is so high in sugar compared to other countries that our brains are almost wired to notice the fruit, notice the sugar, notice the sweetness, and it immediately likes it. So you almost have to untrain your brain from that high sugar diet. So when it comes to something from 21, I mean, obviously my first gut thing is to give them a Moscato, give them something sweet, because even if they don't like it, they like juice, and it tastes like juice. So that would be my first leap.
Moscato.
Yeah, like a Moscato. If they really wanted to try something a little bit more serious, I would probably steer them towards, honestly, a Beaujolais, like a Gamay, just because it has that bright pink, like bubblegum, strawberry, cherry fruit, and it's still fairly light. I feel like sometimes the more medium to full-bodied wines can be a little heavy on their systems if they haven't had it before. Fairly light in alcohol still, so it won't be too noticeable on the palate, and that's kind of the route that I think I would go.
That's great.
Yeah. So still not super standard, but I think that would be a good starting point.
Yeah, we suggest Lambrusco a lot to people.
Oh, Lambrusco's delicious. You guys did a highlight on the Piopa Lambrusco, and that is an Italiano wine. That's one of ours, yeah.
Really?
And I love that one because
a
it's a dry Lambrusco, but it still has that gorgeous like blueberry banana smoothie vibe to it without having any of the additional sugar. So Lambrusco would be a really, really great way to go with that as well.
As well.
So before we end this, what's on the horizon for you? Anything new, or is it just kind of cruising along, still figuring this out? I mean, I've only been doing this since January, so I'm 10 months in. They act like you're really not gonna really know how far you can go until like maybe a year and a half. So
was it January till whenever you were in COVID still? How was that transition starting in January, still coming out of COVID, meeting with people, going into restaurants, stuff like that?
Did you wear masks the whole time and stuff?
Yeah, I live with my elderly grandmother, so I was always a little bit more precautious than others.
For sure.
But again, didn't really judge other people if they didn't want to. Not a thing. Like it's everyone else's business. But yeah, there were some places that were still doing masks in the store, and I would wear it when I'd go in there. And really.
But you guys would still taste?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Which if you think about it,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah. But really, what it boils down to is you almost trust the coworkers and the people you work with to do right by their health and your health as well.
Totally.
So there's a different, which probably still isn't even right, but there's a different level of respect and trust that goes along with that. I think when it comes to like bigger spaces, they mostly wore the mask for like the general public coming in. Because you don't know what they've done, blah, blah, yada, yada. So I think it more ran along lines with that. But no, there really wasn't.
So you didn't have to do any kind of like virtual tastings or anything with like clients?
No, because when I started, COVID was already where we were tipping towards the end of it, and it really didn't affect me too much. And I will say, when I was in retail and it was like the heyday, we stopped all tastings. There were no tastings, no really bringing in of any new product unless it came towards like price and what fit the store at the time.
So happy we moved on from that point that we're living life again regularly. Everything's so much better. So, well, you've been like a joy to talk with. And
thank you.
Yes, and I can totally tell even in the 15 minutes leading up to when we did the podcast, like, you're just such a people person, and I love meeting people like that because we're people. Yeah. We're people.
We're people.
Yeah, and no, you're so delightful.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
Anybody needs to meet this person. Everybody
So
does.
we're going to tag 100% Italiano and Kat's Instagram on this. So please give her a follow and check out her bag of goodies as she travels around Nashville.
If you catch me.
Yeah, or if you have questions about wine, I'm sure she would love to answer in DMs or
and please check out 100% Italiano and their catalog and what they have. Delicious wines.
Yes, this has been so fun.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Yes.
Yay.